going on, Orlando Magic fans? Welcome to the Six Man Show Postgame Live, presented by Rock'em. Magic fall 119-90 in Portland to start off this West Coast road trip. This is going to be interesting, guys. Welcome to the show. My name's Kevin. Glad you're with us. Yeah. I'm saving my emotions for later. Right now, I'm just going to tell you this is the Six Man Show Postgame Live. It's our live postgame show after every Orlando Magic game right here on YouTube and simulcast over on X. Doesn't matter if the Magic win a great game, East Coast time, or lose a terrible game, West Coast time. We're here. And so we're here. And we wouldn't be here without our presenting sponsor, Rock'em. They're the sponsors of the show. They're amazing people. It's a Central Florida company located just down the street from Kia Center. They make socks and underwear, some of the most creative stuff you can buy. Check them out at rock'em.com, not just for Orlando Magic gear, such as the stuff underwear over my shoulder, Orlando Magic socks. They also make socks and underwear for some of your other favorite teams, but also non-sports things. I just recently saw a couple of SpongeBob offerings that they have, Nickelodeon socks, which is pretty fun. At this point, if you don't feel like buying Orlando Magic gear, can't say I fully blame you. It's a rough time right now. Just whatever you buy at rock'em.com, use this code MAGIC20 to get 20% off your order all season long. Again, that's code MAGIC20 for 20% off your order at rock'em.com. Big shout out to Rock'em for never letting us down, unlike the Orlando Magic. What is happening? What is going on? What is this basketball team? Chat, I'm going to come to you in a second. I need someone to tell me who this team is and where are the Orlando Magic? Where did they go? It's hard for me to believe that the team that we're watching right now is not the same team from 3 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 1 year ago. It's not the same. Nothing is the same. And I just don't understand it. I don't know how this happens. I'm not a professional athlete. I've never worked in the NBA. So I will not sit here and pretend to understand why this is happening. I genuinely am at a loss for how a team can go out there and play like we have done, not just tonight, but for the last 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks now. Yeah, we got the nice win on Saturday. It was a great win. Cool. That doesn't erase what has happened in the last 2 weeks. And if you're going to tell me, oh, the Magic, this happened tonight because we didn't have Jalen Suggs. If that's the case, that's not acceptable either. It's not an excuse. You can lose a close game against a Portland team without Jalen Suggs, and I go, okay, look, it's the NBA. Anyone can beat anyone on any night. They just squeaked it out against us. That's more acceptable. You don't lose by 29 because you're missing one player. That shouldn't happen. It's not an excuse. Injuries aren't an excuse anymore. We wandered through the desert of injuries. We had all the excuses in the world, all justified. And here we sit, losing to Portland by 29, missing one player. It's not acceptable. It's not good enough. And what also makes it doubly difficult to watch is because it looks to me like most of the guys, I'm not going to say they don't care, but it doesn't seem to bother them. It's almost like, oh yeah, we're used to this by now because we've been doing this for the last 2 weeks. We've been getting our tails kicked for 2 straight weeks. And it's like, oh, this is par for the course. This is just what we do right now. And I don't understand it. Does this team need a shakeup before the deadline? Which, by the way, now that we've crossed over to Friday morning, it's 12:39 a.m. We're 6 days away from that deadline. Does this team need a shakeup by Thursday? Is that what it's going to take to wake this thing up, to make us figure this thing out? If that's the case, Weltman's got to do something. because this ship is sinking. It is absolutely sinking. It was going down a little bit before, but we always had the light at the end of the tunnel of, okay, injuries. Once everybody's healthy, we're going to be fine. Well, we're just about healthy now, and we just lost by 29 to the Portland Trailblazers. We just lost to them 2 weeks ago tonight by 22. And just when you think it can't get any worse, you turn around and lose again to them, this time by 29. But hey, we scored more than 79 points. Way to go. We scored 90 points tonight. Way to go. We gave up 119, but we scored 90. Wow, that's great. I'm at a loss, guys. At a loss. I just don't understand it. And if it really is because we're missing Jalen Suggs, then that is a huge, huge, huge problem. If this team relies on one person to bring the hustle, the energy, the heart, the unity, if that relies on one person, then this team is screwed. This team is cooked, short-term and long-term. It should never fall on the shoulders of one person to elevate the culture and intensity of an entire team. I'm just in disbelief. I saw we got a super chat earlier. Matthew Thomas says, we looked so good the first 6 minutes, and you're so right, Matthew. It's always one of the worries when you start a West Coast road trip. Like sometimes teams can get off to slow starts, right? And that's understandable, right? You've just changed over 3 time zones. It's a late start. You're on the road, all those things. But the Magic did the opposite of that. The Magic got off to an incredible start. I think it was 10-0 to start the game, at least 8-0 to start the game. And you're like, okay, look at us go. This is good. This is good. This is good. And that was literally the highlight of the night. The highlight of the night was in the first 120 seconds, maybe 180 seconds of this game. And it was all downhill from there. You score 35 points in the first quarter. And you score what? 55 the rest of the way? 55 points over 3 quarters? That's horrible. What is that? 55 divided by... It was 55, right? Yeah, they scored 35 in the first. 55 divided by 3. So they scored 18 points on average in the last 3 quarters. 18! That's crazy! And Portland is not a good defensive team. I know they're playing well of late, and you give them a lot of credit. That's a very interesting roster they have. Chauncey Billups has done a very good job of riding the ship in some ways. They're playing 500 or better basketball over the last couple weeks. Give them all the credit in the world. It doesn't change the fact that over the course of the entire season, that's not a very good defensive basketball team. And in 2 games against them, you scored 79 and 90 points. What is that? Nick Monk says, J.I. looked like the only guy with hustle tonight. So sad. I 100% agree. He's the only one who is fighting for things. Why? He's the only one showing intensity. Why? I don't understand it. We've talked on this show, maybe it was more so on the podcast with Jonathan. Sometimes we mock other teams for being what we would call front runners, right? Like they only run their mouth when things are going well. They only get physical when things are going well. They only challenge other guys when things are going well. And we always pride ourselves because this Magic team didn't do that. This Magic team, no matter what was happening in the game, this team wasn't going to back down. This team was going to fight. This team was going to talk if they needed to talk. And over these last couple of weeks, that has completely disappeared. Completely disappeared. They have collapsed not just as a basketball team, but as their identity, their culture of who they are has completely disappeared. And tonight, I thought Jonathan Isaac was the only one that was, in spite of everything, in spite of the score, even when down 20, he was the one fighting for offensive rebounds. He was the one being physical. I just don't understand. Thank you for those super chats, guys. Matthew and Nick, thank you so much for those. It's just really, really hard for me to understand. There's way too many of you here right now, by the way. It's 12:44 a.m. I know we've got 120 of you with us on YouTube and many more joining us on X. So thanks for hanging out with us in what will genuinely have to just be a Magic Maniac therapy session, because there's no other way to talk about this game. There is zero silver lining from this game, if you ask me. None. Not a one. Nothing. And I told this to Jonathan when the fourth quarter started. I was like, even if we come back, let's say we come back from this 20-plus point deficit to win the game in the fourth quarter. Even if that happens, I'm still going to be angry because it never should have happened. Especially when you get a 10-0 lead, 10-point lead. I don't remember what the biggest lead was for the Magic. I know it was at least 10. I think it might have gotten to 12. Let me see. Okay, it was 10. 10 was the biggest lead of the night. Portland's biggest lead was 30. In no circumstance should there be a 40-point swing against the Portland Trailblazers. I don't mean that as disrespect to the Portland Trailblazers. I already gave them their flowers. They've played great tonight. They've been playing great of late. They have cooked us for 2 games. I am not taking away from the Portland Trailblazers. However, roster to roster, on paper, this Magic team should not allow a 40-point swing to the Portland Trailblazers. You should not get a 10-point lead and trail by as many as 30. It should not happen. It's not acceptable. And I don't know what it's going to take for either the players, the coaching staff, or the front office to come to that realization. And maybe they already have. At least maybe the front office has, and they're waiting for the right move. But I am not convinced that the players right now feel that weight of it being unacceptable. And the last thing I'm going to say before I go to the chat, I love this team. I love all of the players. I love the opportunities that the Six Man Show has to work with the Orlando Magic and to have players on our show and all of those things. All great. If one player from this team posts their outfit on Instagram tonight or in the morning, or posts a highlight of themselves from this game, that is going to be an enormous red flag to me. That is going to tell me how serious or unserious the gentlemen on this roster are. If their takeaway from this game is let me go to Instagram and post my highlight, or let me go to Instagram and post my outfit, that will tell me all I need to know about how serious or unserious this team is. I don't know if this team is just trying to thinks they can just waltz into the postseason, essentially like the Miami Heat way of the last several years. We're just gonna stay afloat until the postseason, then we'll make some noise. It's not gonna work. This team is under 500 for the first time. It's not good enough, and if they don't wake up now, it's going to be a major problem when the calendar turns to April. We just got several more super chats. This one is from Pelicans Palace. Says, bro, the problem is obvious. Weltman only drafts guys who are 6'7" and above and have zero basketball skills. The offense is horrific. Awful roster. The offense is absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. 20 times now in this season, the Magic have failed to score 100 points. 20 times. I don't even remember what game this is. What game is this? Tonight is game number 49. So 20 out of 49, the Magic can fail to score 100 points. It's just not acceptable. Nick Monks with another super chat says, I need to see P5 get more vocal. If he is our number one. Yeah. And then King the Seventh says, so much for the 3-0 week you guys predicted. I'm sad. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, Monday, you're just a couple possessions away from getting a win. You end up going to overtime. Double overtime, you lose. There were a lot of issues in that game. To me, it was more so about free throws and a couple other things. I can get less angry about that game. I can be very disappointed in that game. Tonight, I'm just angry. This is just not good enough. And this should have been circled on the calendar as a get-back game. This team clowned you by 22 in your home building, holding you to 79 points on the night of Franz's return. This game tonight should have been circled as a get-back game. Hey, remember what they did to us just 2 weeks ago on our home floor? Embarrassed us on what was supposed to be a special night celebrating the return of one of our franchise cornerstones. And yet, tonight was worse. By a long shot, I think tonight was worse. Very sad. Very sad. All right, let's go to the chat. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Matthew Thomas says this team doesn't work. Blow it up. Do we need to blow it up or do we need to just add a shot in the arm? I don't know. I don't. Let me back up. I don't think we need to blow it up. I don't think we need to start over. I don't think we're at that level. This team is in a funk right now and has wandered away from their identity that brought them success last season and for parts of this season. Do we need a shot in the arm to wake that up? Yeah, I think so. Escosco Fresco says, had to turn off the TV halfway through the fourth. Embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, when you're putting in your reserves, your third stringers in with, I think it was 4:37 left in the game, that's a sign that it's been a bad night. Bad night. Seth Berry says, only the Magic could catch the Blazers cooking on a night like this. Their team is straight Magic killers. Again, the Blazers have been playing well lately. So I don't want to totally clown them or put them down or anything, but man. Clement says they can't miss. They're taking the wildest step back all game, and they can't miss. Other teams always pop off against us. Ware went off against Orlando, but then scored 5 the following game. Cursed. Yeah, I saw that. Sucks. Just sucks. And the fact that we can't get anybody to knock down a three. Tonight, the Magic go 5 of 26 from 3 for 19%. 19. While the Blazers go 12 of 25 for 48%. It's just painful every single night. LGF says they lost everything that made them good. They look soft and passive. 100% agree. 100% agree. Do you think the Orlando Magic of last season, 2023-24, are going to give up 119 points to the Portland Trail Blazers in a night like tonight? No. Absolutely not. Clement also says, trash defense. They scored 100 points with 8 minutes left in the fourth. Just awful performance against a bottom team. This is bad. Yeah. This is legitimately bad. We've talked about on this show and on the podcast, like this stretch of very winnable games. Well, you've been in that stretch now for a week and a half, and you have one win to show for it. One. You're 1-4 during this stretch. You have one more, on paper, very winnable game on Saturday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then after that, your West Coast road trip finishes with 3 teams that are on a different level, on paper, on a different level than the teams you've played this week. It's not getting any better. Jacob says, bro, we are so bad. If no moves are made at the deadline, fans need to start questioning this front office. Yeah. I don't think I disagree with you. I don't think we need an extreme move right now. We're pretty strapped. There's not necessarily an extreme move we can make. I take that back. There could be an extreme move we make. But I think more likely is something a little smaller, but we'll see. Clement also says, how is TDS not taking a shot this game? It's a valid question. I think before, where is he? Yeah, he ended up with no shots. Yeah. Had a great game on Monday. Tonight, no shots in 20 minutes. Interesting. Heck yeah says, where's Matthew Browning to save the season? Yeah. Matt Browning. Nathan says, unrecognizable, this team. Truly disappointing if the front office doesn't make a move. Throw this season away. Here's the hard part. Like, this team going into the season had lofty aspirations of home court advantage and making it to the second round. And who knows beyond that, right? It's not to me, there's no such thing as a moving target when it comes to those things. Unless you're not healthy or some other circumstance outside of your control changes, that's not a moving target. That target needs to be fixed. And if the Magic are healthy, in obviously excluding Mo Wagner, who's not going to come back this season, if the Magic are healthy, that still has to be the target. That's what this team was built to do, right? And so when the Magic are healthy, which they're almost healthy now, and we're not able to hit that target currently, that's just not acceptable. And once again, like I said at the beginning, if the reason the Magic lost this game by 29 is because they didn't have Jalen Suggs, and that is a problem. That's a huge problem. That should not fall on the shoulders of one team, much less one player, much less a player that on paper, again, is the third most important player of this team, right? It's Franz, Paolo, 1A, 1B, or I'll just call them both ones. They're not an A and a B. They're both ones, right? Jalen is the third person on that list. And there's no reason just him being gone, you should lose by 29. It's just not acceptable. It's not an excuse. Matthew Garfinkel, says, how does Cole genuinely think it's okay to dive for loose balls? He broke a man's fibula and went for it twice in this game. Can't defend that anymore. Yeah, the Jaden Ivey thing I thought was a legitimate basketball play, and I didn't have a problem with it. I certainly didn't think it was malicious. I think, though, at worst, it was reckless, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a basketball play. Both of the plays that you're referring to tonight, Matthew, from Cole Anthony, I thought were bad. They were reckless. Again, I don't think they were malicious. I don't think he's diving to hurt a player, but I think he knows better, especially after the Jaden Ivey thing. So to see him do it not once but twice tonight, and in my opinion, two instances that were significantly worse than the Jaden Ivey thing. Significantly worse, much less of a true basketball play and more of just a wild, reckless play, a guy who's desperate to try to make an impact, a guy who also feels like he has to make a play because he knows his NBA job, his career is on the line. That's what it looked like tonight, and it's just not acceptable. It's dangerous. Someone has to talk to him about that. Man, I cannot believe we're in this position right now. Hi, Kevin, from another Kevin. Says, do you know where the Magic's defense went? Asking for a friend. No. No, I do not. The Magic, over the last 2 weeks, I think it's actually 15 days at this point now, have played 5 playoff teams before tonight. And I believe the stat that I pulled up was they've given up 118 points per game to those 5 playoff teams. That's not good. And yeah, a couple of those games we were genuinely unhealthy, and so you can take that stat with a grain of salt. But tonight's game, you can't take it with a grain of salt. You can just take it as fact. The Magic gave up 119 points to the Portland Trail Blazers, almost completely healthy. The Blazers have more injuries than the Magic right now. You gave up 119. I don't know where the defense went, Kevin. I don't know. This team is unrecognizable. Clifford says, paid KCP to stink it up. Yeah, KCP has not been good. Not good. Oh, man. Yeah. I just need to go to the box score. I can't keep browsing the desperation on the chat. Not that there's anything wrong with what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying. It's just it's all doom and gloom, which is right. It is doom and gloom. So let's check out the box score. Only have to. Franz, it was all right. 24 points, 8 of 17 from the field. Obviously, 1 of 5 from 3 is not good enough. 7 of 8 from the line, 3 boards, 3 assists. Only 1 turnover. It's not the worst stat line you've ever seen from Franz. Paolo wasn't great. It wasn't abysmal. 21 points, 23 shots is not good. 0 of 4 from 3 is not good. 1 of 3 from the line is not good. 6 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers. Okay, so on the whole, it's not great. But it's not terrible. It's not abysmal. It's not the worst you've ever seen. Where it becomes abysmal is just about everybody after that. Goga, invisible. Anthony Black, invisible. KCP, invisible. Gary Harris, you know what? I'll give him credit. First time playing in goodness knows how many weeks. Gives you 13 minutes off the bench. Goes 1 of 2 from 3. Had a couple good defensive possessions. Had a couple bad defensive possessions. But, I'm not going to sit here and get on Gary Harris. First game back in a while. Great. Tristan da Silva, invisible. Wendell Carter Jr., a mixed bag for me. Yeah, he ends up with us 12-7. That's fine. Goes to the line 6 times. That's great. Happy for that. There were definitely good moments from Wendell. There were also some pretty not good moments. But I don't think he was terrible tonight. Cole Anthony goes 3 of 7 from 3. That's great. Outside of that, though, Cole had some bad turnovers. Had some really, really stupid shots. Like stupid shots. Terrible, like wild, over-the-shoulder layup attempts. Not good. Yeah, he went 3 of 7 from 3. Great. Best three-point shooter of the team tonight. Great. Outside of Cole, this team goes 2 for 19 from 3, by the way. Jonathan Isaac, we talked about him earlier. Statistically, whatever. 4 points, 5 boards, only gets 15 minutes. But I thought he showed the most heart and energy and hustle and effort of anyone on the team. And then Trevelin Queen got some burn there in the fourth quarter. Mose trying to jumpstart it. Didn't work. Caleb Houston and Jet Howard got those 4 minutes and 48 seconds of garbage time. It's just a bad night. Just a bad night. That box score is bad. Magic shoot 42% from the field. 19.2% from 3. It's gross. Meanwhile, Portland, they get 23 from Shaedon Sharpe off the bench. They get 23 from Scoot Henderson. Anthony Simons was pretty quiet. 8 points, but it wasn't a terrible 8 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. DeAndre Ayton just cooked you for the first half for the most part. 22 points, 8 boards for him. Just not good. Oh, yeah. Again, they shoot 12 of 25 from 3. Wonder what that's like. Must be nice. Magic win the first quarter and lose all of the rest by a lot. Again, they win the first quarter 35-28, which means, really fast math, they were outscored 91-55 the rest of the way. Is that right? Good golly, man. 91-55 over 3 quarters. That is wild. That is hard to believe. They get 48 points in the paint, 21 fast break points. They led by as many as 30. They had 48 bench points. They had 1 fewer turnover, and they scored 29 points off of your 13 turnovers. That is insane. I don't know the last time I have seen a higher points off turnover ratio than that. That means they averaged more than 2 points per Orlando Magic turnover. That is insane. That is crazy. Wow. Give Portland credit for taking advantage of whatever that was from the Orlando Magic. Not a lot of games in the NBA tonight. Grizzlies beat the Rockets. Timberwolves beat the Jazz. Cavs beat the Hawks. Lakers beat the Wizards. The Wizards are just historically bad. And then, of course, the Blazers beat the Magic, who right now are also historically bad, but different. Magic tonight are going into the game. They were in 6th because of some losses on Wednesday. Tonight, now they sit in 7th place, half game back of the Miami Heat, 3.5 back of the 5 seed Pacers. Now 4 games back of that home court advantage 4 seed. That was the goal for the season. Now they sit 4 games back. They are now back tied with the Pistons, and now 1.5 games up on the Hawks, and 3.5 games up on both the Bulls and the Sixers. The Sixers are hot. They are rolling. They are a problem. They are a real problem for that bottom section of the Eastern Conference playoffs, which right now includes the Orlando Magic. Hate to say it, but it is. I'll go back to the chat one more time. I know there's just so many thoughts in there, and I can't get to all of them. It's just crazy. I know everyone's pretty angry. I missed the super chat earlier. This one's from Pelicans Palace. Says, we're not in a funk. We're 7-18 in our last 25 games. That's a totally valid point. Totally valid point. Part of the funk, I genuinely believe, I'll call it that one more time, I promise. Part of that stretch, I genuinely believe, is because of the injuries, and not just because, we're missing guys tonight, but because of all the changes. There's so many changes. Not roster changes, but like rotation changes, starters, bench, blah, 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 blah. I know that all takes a toll. I know that all makes things a little more challenging. However, now we've got guys back. It should not be this way. But you're right. We're 7-18 in our last 25 games. That is terrible. Terrible. Not good. And again, I understand part of that stretch was we were a skeleton crew of a roster with all those injuries for a stretch of that. But the last 2 weeks, we haven't been. We've been missing some guys, but we've had enough to be better than we've been in the last 2 weeks. And I'll just say this one more time. Last time I'm going to say this, I promise. If we had lost to the Blazers tonight in a close, competitive game, I would not be sitting here seething right now. And I think most of you probably wouldn't too. First game, West Coast road trip, you're missing Jalen Suggs, blah, 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 blah. You can go through the list and say, they just made a couple more plays than us. Good game. And you move on. It's when you lose by 29, that's when there's a problem. Like we were not even close to competing in this game after the first 6 minutes. And that's just not good enough. David A., you're exactly right. He says, if you are watching right now, you're an absolute Magic fanatic, so shout out even though we lost. I 100% agree. There's still 130 of you with us live on YouTube and even more over on X. So if this is you right now at 1:07 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, January 31st, kudos to you. And even if you're watching this on replay or listening to this on replay the next day, we're 30 minutes into this show and you're still with us, kudos to you. You are addicted to Orlando Magic pain. And so welcome to the club. You're in good company because we're all a bunch of wackos who just love this team too dang much. Woof. Martin says, I don't think we'll make any moves before the trade deadline this year, but I expect big moves this summer. Yeah, we'll see. I really don't know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect, guys. I know what I want to do, what I'd like to see happen, but will Jeff Weltman and Anthony Parker pull the trigger on something like that? I just don't know. Luke says this was the easiest game of this trip. Yeah, either this or Saturday. Either one. I would say probably statistically Saturday is a little easier because, again, Portland's actually playing good basketball of late. But regardless, take your pick. It's one or the other. I mean, you certainly shouldn't have lost by 29. Jordan says mostly needs to smack someone. Yeah. Maybe. Tristan says, what happened to us? I don't know. I wish I did. That's weird. Let's see. Joe says this player can't dribble, pass, shoot, or anything else. They simply can't play. Offensively, that's what it feels like. Clifford says, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, we need something. Those last two, I don't know. Those guys are old and cost a lot of money. It would be interesting to have those guys. The first two, maybe. Nick Monks with a super chat says, Cam Johnson and Anthony Simons looks good. I mean, Give me guys that can score. Absolutely. I'll take that. Last couple thoughts here from the chat before we call it a night. Yeah, Joe says De Silva zeros across the board in 20 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. I'm Joby says we can use Simons. Would love that. Hamad says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this team. Maybe a shakeup at the deadline will help, but who knows at this point? Yeah, I don't know. I hope we're not too far gone. I hope we haven't lost our identity so much that that it's gone. Kevin says, do you think any of this is on Mose? I think some of it has to be, but I certainly don't think I put all of the blame on him. Like I've seen some of you saying he needs to be fired. He's on the hot seat. I'm not there yet. I'm just not there. This is the same coach that led a Paolo-less Orlando Magic to the 3 or 4 seed for 2 months, pretty much, and led the Hospital Magic through a ridiculous stretch of miraculous wins, right? We're just over a month removed from that. And so I don't put Mose on the hot seat. Do I think that some of what is happening right now has to fall on him? Yeah, he's the head coach. I think so. But I don't think all of it is. I think we've got some players right now that are unserious, and that bothers me. That's the part that bothers me. Again, if I get on Instagram after this right now, after I press end on this stream and I get on Instagram and one of our players is posting their outfit or posting one shot that they made from this game, that's when I'm going to be angry. I'm already angry. That's going to really set me off. Because you lose by 29 in Portland, you don't go do that. Need a little more pride, a little more fire, a little more dignity. And I stand by those words. Oh, no, I hit the wrong button. And false start on Kevin to close the night out. Oh, that was the most painful part. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to all Orlando Magic fans out there that I just teased you with that. That's just salt in the wound. Oh, gosh. What I meant to do was this. Oh, Magic back in action Saturday. Hey, guys, it's a weird tip time. It's a 5 p.m. Eastern tip time against Utah. Oh, don't forget, we have a watch party in Longwood. Go to our social media. Check it out. If you're in Central Florida, come join us for that. Hopefully the Magic freaking remember how to play basketball and play defense and win a game. I don't know. Enjoy your Friday, everyone. We'll see you Saturday. And until then, let's go Magic. Ugh.